Let it be after an astounding rise in FAFSA application rates, after an astounding rise in degree completion rates, and after an astounding rise in motivation among these students. What good does this 2-year associate degree really do anyways? We want to fund these 2 years of college for students, but where does that actually get them? The CCRC reports that 64% of entering community college students who successfully transfer to 4-year colleges do so without first earning the associate degree. This is saying that of the students that transfer to a 4-year college, 2/3 of them do not even attain the degree that they began the community college for. I believe that we should put our money to a better use in other higher education areas. If we want to add funding, put it in public and private 4-year institutions. The mere 6% of community college attendants that pay more than just $2,500 a year is nothing compared to the cost of simply tuition at these institutions that can exceed $40,000 a year. Fund the students that wish to excel in education rather than merely tap into their potential in 2 years. Fund the students that could discover a cure to cancer at a high-tier college with a little more assistance from the government. If we are concerned with the bettering of our nation, fund the auspicious students with the motivation and persistence and the intellect to use the government's money, the taxpayers' money, in an effective way. And I'll yield whatever time I have left to questions.
Do you think there's a difference in the quality of education in the community college and the 4-year institute?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not certain of what that fine line is between the quality of education, but obviously there's a distinctive line between an associate degree and a bachelor's degree, because there are those 2 extra years that you put into that work, and there's that money that you pay for that better education. So
I don't want to jump to conclusions here, but are you saying that you would be in favor of free money or more money for 4-year college students? If this were about,
yeah,
if you switched to 4-year, would you be in
yeah, I mean, if I'm saying, like, if we want to enact this plan to fund more education for students, I think it should be put in that different area, because I think there's greater potential at 4-year institutions, and there's students who will use the money more wisely.
Okay, thanks. That's time.
Now the affirmative cross-examination.
Okay, whenever we're looking at the statistics for the debt, you said, what was the specific statistic, 3
And 3 out of 10 community college students pay nothing or receive money back for attending.
Okay, well, like, I think when looking at this proposal, it's important to look at the students that are in debt who also go to the 4-year college, because this is not a proposal in action. So if, say it was passed, then students that are in debt from the 4 years, like, if this proposal, like, this proposal obviously isn't in action now. Say I go to a 4-year college, and then I'm in debt. If this was passed, I would go to that 2-year college, and I wouldn't be in debt. And it says that in 2012, 71% of all students graduating from a 4-year college had student loan debt. So if this was an option, then that statistic would drop tremendously, because some of those students would obviously go to the free option. So I think we are kind of blindsided when we're giving statistics about the 3 and 10 go for free, when there are people that are in debt going to these 4-year institutions, and they're in debt because they didn't have this option to go to the 2-year free college.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's the fact that there's already 3 out of 10 community college students that don't pay anything, or they actually earn money from going. Like, it's just a problem that doesn't really seem to need this much addressing.
And then also in Obama's budget, he makes a ton of cuts specifically for education. He wants to do all of this stuff for education, and he's cutting $651 billion in new revenue from the rich. And whether we like that or not, whether we agree with it or not, it's going to be up for debate And there are many other cuts that I mentioned in my first speech that are going to happen. So either way, this money is going to be spent. I mean, whether we want it to be spent on education for 2 years at community college because we agree or disagree with it, it's going to be spent.
That seems like a poor attitude to take towards
Well, when it's
monetary
benefiting,
policy.
I mean, what
It's
would,
benefiting people getting education, I think that's.
and then it's going to go back into our economy because instead of people paying student loans for the 4-year institutions, it's going to be going back to buying a car or house or clothes or food.
Well, it could be argued whether or not that's actually beneficial to these people, whether he's cutting this money for farm subsidies or various SNAP programs or any other kind of tax cuts or what have you. One could definitely argue that those are far more beneficial routes than cutting that assistance and giving it instead to this program that seems to already be taken care of.
Morgan, you were talking about persistence and how, what were you saying about persistence, about how most,
Just that community colleges have the worst completion rates among any, like, either for-profit colleges, 4-year institutions, like, community colleges have the worst graduation rate of any higher education.
I feel like if people were given this plan, this opportunity, for those who want to actually work for it and get an associate's degree or the bachelor's degree with the vast plan that Sierra was talking about, I feel like that would actually increase because they're given the opportunity to pursue an education that they weren't given before.
Or if it doesn't increase, they're not going to continue to be funded by the government if they don't get that certain GPA or, I mean, I think that it's probably going to have to depend on the college whether or not, like, what that GPA is. And I know in Tennessee, along with the GPA, they have to have at least 8 hours of community service per semester and regulations within that nature. So, I mean, it's going to depend on the college and what they want and those type of regulations, whether or not they continue to be funded by the government.
Do you have any you said that if students were to go through the for-profit colleges, you said that they could spend that more on educational purposes. Do you have any specific examples, or was it just?
The only thing I said about for-profit colleges was that the graduation, the completion rates that I talked about, the 13% and 15.8%, those statistics were taken from for-profit colleges, and it just said that those statistics are higher than the ones for community colleges.
All right, anything else? All right, Samantha, ready for a run by.
It's now time for the affirmative closing speech.
When you're ready.
Okay, this proposal is basically to make 2 years of college become as free and as universal as high school is today in America. Vice President Biden has been working to update the job training system, and they're working and connecting with community colleges with local employers to train workers to fill high-paying jobs. This proposal is not to give out free education just for the heck of it. It is to train these people so they can become skilled workers. Tennessee started this plan because there was an issue with not having as many people working because they were not qualified enough. Also, with the money issue, this is obviously going to be a lot of money. I think with many proposals that are coming into Congress today, like to be debated, are costly. The money's going to be spent, and if that's a poor and negative way to look at it, so be it. But it's going to be spent, and if it's spent and it helps America, isn't that the point? To benefit America. Also, to tackle this issue again, we're not just going to be paying for students to go to college just to go. They're going to have to keep a GPA, and they're going to have to work for it. And if they don't, then they're not going to be funded. We're not just wasting money. Like, when we spend this money on them, they're going to have to work for it or they're not going to be funded.
And now the negative closing speech.
Everyone says that hard work pays off, and in the American education system, if you work hard, your work will literally eventually pay off with a steady income when you're employed. There is a reason, however, why we say that it's hard work that pays off. We don't continue to push ourselves and excel in what we do to hear from someone that mediocre work pays off or that even no work pays off. That would be unnatural. That this hard work that we as students must contribute to our education is directly associated with one of the many reasons that a proposal like this should not be enacted in the United States of America. We would be demonstrating that your mediocre work in school can still earn you a free education. We would be demonstrating that students in a low-income family don't have to completely focus on their primary education because we still have you covered for 2 more years. We cannot over-glorify this proposal to say that it's intended to help lower-income students succeed in life. There are existing opportunities in place, like I previously mentioned, and these students are not utilizing them. Community colleges have the lowest rate of FAFSA applications. Community colleges continue to have the worst graduation rate among any higher education institution. Are we just seeking to call ourselves good people for wanting to boost the economy and help the poor? Because in reality, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, only 27% of jobs in the U.S. even require an associate degree or higher. And the ranks of under and unemployed college graduates are likely to grow over the next 10 years. That's it.
All right, we'll clap. We all shake hands.
Did you even shake or did you just grab it?
What?
You like, this is how you grab it.
Excellent job.